Hey everybody, William here. Welcome back to Dwarf Fortress. So it's been a little while, been a crazy weekend with the 4th of July and everything. I was trying to do daily Dwarf Fortress videos, but didn't get a chance to record this episode in time to have it up on Monday, or Tuesday, I guess? Yeah, Tuesday. So anyway, I'm recording this now on Tuesday, hoping to get this up Wednesday, and I'm realizing that I need to kind of tweak some of the Stonesense stuff. I want the level to go down a bit. If I scroll wheel, hold control and do scroll wheel here. And if I hold control, I can use the arrow keys to kind of widen the area that is seen. And I can also make it taller. And I try to do this slowly. Just a note, like if I quickly click the arrow trying to expand this area fast, the Stonesense actually crashes on me. So I noticed if I just kind of, one or two clicks at a time, same with scrolling the world to see deeper, if I do that fast, it crashes. So anyway, there we go. Nice and slow, took it easy. One of the first things I want to get into from the last time we were here was I was trying to get the fishing area, and here's what I discovered in playing with it today. I tried to get a fishing area in any of this area and I could not get it to go, but when I dragged an area over these little lakes and stuff, it worked. And so I was doing it out here and it was working as well. And what I discovered was when I drag a square like this, it'll flash indicating where there's water, or you can see where there's a gap over here from the level that you've highlighted if there's kind of a drop down. So we have these water tiles, and then it says there's 29 tiles there. Now in smaller cases I actually highlighted a test and I was counting, and it's not counting these pieces here, and if I included a really big area, it really only did the shores along here but not into here. So what I think is going on is that it doesn't count areas that you've dug out. I think it doesn't recognize those as areas where you can actually fish, where there will actually be fish, even though the water came from this river. That's what I've been able to discover. Trying to get a zone happening just happens nowhere except for these beaches. So anyway, just throwing that out there, a little note. So fortunately we have that resolved. Now, many of you said, hey, make a bridge. As you can see, I've got the bridge here. Andy has made his way across. He was starving, but I don't think he's died. So I think we're still good. I was like, he could die soon. We'll just have to keep an eye on it. But I think we're good there. So we have the fishing, and I think I set this as kind of a water area to be getting like a water source. Is that what I set that as? I can't recall. Maybe I didn't set that as anything. I'm pretty sure that's what I did. Anyway, not that it was a huge deal, but so I don't really need this dock here or anything, but I don't know. It seems cool, kind of makes sense, right? So we're going to go ahead and leave that there. Now, I actually had an error going on here when I was starting the game up. I was getting a bunch of spam on the Stonesense side telling me that people couldn't get anywhere because of a path, could not find path. And it said canceled the hunt. So anyway, I ended up looking that up, and as it turns out, it seems as though when you pop into the cavern system, as we did, we kind of drilled down here, crossed over and drilled down more, because it opens up that whole area. I guess monsters can kind of be discovered in that area too, like we become aware of some of the creatures there, and so people that are set to hunt want to actually go fight them. But there was no clear path into the caverns because we only had these corner pieces and they can't pass between those, so it was kind of a pathing issue. So what I did was I actually brought up Dwarf Therapist. I went to Hunters and I turned them all off, and it seemed as though the errors stopped. I went ahead and saved the game, reloaded, no errors came up. I was getting just no errors at all. And in fact, I should restate that I also put in the fortifications here to kind of block this off. Then I made them Hunters again, and we're still not getting any errors. So that's a good thing. I think we're good there now. So anyway, once we open that up, that's going to be a thing. They're going to want to go down there. I think we'll just leave it blocked off until we're actually ready, until maybe I've got a militia ready to move down there, something along those lines. But for now, we're just going to go ahead and block that off. So we've got, I'm just kind of catching up. I'm kind of catching you guys up on things that have been happening, because basically before I start an episode, I kind of do things here and there and kind of get a feel for where things are at. One of the issues that I just ran into was that Marbazir's body was here, was laying here. These are his clothes, and they just started rotting. And so I realized that my stockpile here for these body parts, was full. You can see it's completely full. So I did set up a new area. I also changed the refuse pile to accept some more things that I actually didn't have on. So hopefully that gets resolved. And we have, what do we have here? We have Styx's body. Because we didn't make a container for that, like a coffin, I'm guessing that's why we still have it. And we have Nagark's body here. I'm trying to remember when he died. I'm completely zoning. It's been a little too long since I recorded the last couple episodes. But what I think we need to do is probably make sure that we have slabs for everybody that need to have slabs. Because what we don't need is people haunting the area. So you can see we have Gaslin there, we have Tito, Styx, Muggle, Edward. So what we need to do is we need to get Marbazir in here, and we need to get Nagark in here as well. So let's see, we just need some slabs, and I think we can just, if I recall correctly, we can just plan those out. Alt S. Okay, so we don't have the slab, but we can planning mode, right? And we can do one here, and then we will do one over in this corner. We'll kind of alternate back and forth, I think. Okay. So we should be good with those two. We do need to make those happen. We do need to get those set. And I actually went through and did hotkeys to jump us around too. So I've had the one for being above ground for a bit. The next one brings us to the work area here. The third one brings us to the dining hall. So I just have those three for now. Well, let's get in here. We'll make we'll get some slabs queued up. And that was a weird icon. Let's see. We just need to escape out of there. There we go. Add a task. Alt S again, right? And then we will just do that. I'm trying to think. It's weird because I thought I actually made some extras, but I guess that wasn't the case. I'm going to go ahead and make those extras now. You know, because people are going to die. We will have dwarf deaths, so we just want to plan ahead and get that going. Now, it was also mentioned, I'm sorry, I forgot who mentioned it. This was yesterday or something, I remember seeing it, that these guys may be stuck having their brewery suspended because we were out of barrels. And I didn't even bother looking. I thought, oh no, that probably is the case. So I actually made a bunch of barrels. I went in here and took off the suspending of this, and they jumped right into work. So that was probably the case. So they're going, they're working on that. I probably could, it probably wouldn't hurt to queue up some more barrels, because regardless, we're going to use them. We're definitely going to use them. Let me get rid of that. Okay, cool. So we've got some of those going. So I think that kind of catches you up on what I've been doing today to kind of get prepped. Now, we got a lot of stuff we still want to do. I was thinking I would move some of these workbenches around. There's some workbenches that we don't even have down. I know Vortak was running around, and he's a cloth guy, a clothier, and so I want to get him set up. I'm noticing that some of the hospital stuff is set up, so that's cool, beds and everything, and it's kind of reminding me, oh yeah, I really need to look into that. So that's something we want to take care of in the future as well. May not get around to that this episode, but man, so many things. It never ends. There's just always a million things to do, but you know what? That's what makes this game really fun and exciting to play. Okay, well, I've got a lot of people doing a lot of work because we have a lot of dwarfs. So if you look down to the bottom, we have 67 that are happy, 7 that are just below that. So we have 74 dwarfs right now. It's insanity. If I bring up the units window, you can see the list of everyone here. And I've actually just recently added some names pulled right from the comments. Not particularly people who asked to be added, but I needed some names, and so I thought, well, if you're commenting, it's possible your name's just going to get pulled into here. So for example, Dwarf Comic was left a comment, and so I just kind of reversed that, Comic Dwarf. And we've got some other ones in here as well. Let me see if I can just quickly, I threw in Lars Bruins, that's a new one. Tennis Asylum is new. I'm just kind of quickly, a name goes here. I pulled you in. I was thinking about that, and I was thinking, I'm going to call you Aname Goshir. I'll probably forget that, though. Cake God is new. Sorry, Name Taken is new. Cap, I just pulled you in as well. And if there's more, I think there was maybe 1 or 2 more. I probably skimmed and just missed it, but you get the idea. We've got a lot of dwarves here. In fact, you can even see the ones who don't have the apostrophe here. are the ones that have not been renamed yet. So we've got a lot of room for more names. So if you haven't mentioned your name yet, if you hadn't said, hey, add me in, I would like to be a part of that, let me know if I haven't already pulled you in, and I will get your name in there. But yeah, so what I did was I actually went around, because Tennis was saying, tennis sounds like tennis. I'm going to just say tennis, was just commenting today, literally today, saying, hey, you know, other creatures can climb trees in order to get over walls. Now I looked and none of the trees were actually overhanging the walls at all as I kind of go up into the air here. But what I've done is I've gone ahead and set all of the trees in all of the surrounding areas to be chopped down. And then I went ahead and actually selected for the plants to be gathered, and I put down some other things as well. I'm going to go ahead and start the timer back up. At the top right, you can see a 27 idle right now, 26, kind of bouncing around. Not too bad for just how many dwarves we have here. So I had actually gone into the stockpiles as well, the workbenches rather, the workshops, and set some tasks to be done in there. So we have some odds and ends happening there. We do have some mining going on as well. If I kind of cruise down to the strip mine area, let's see, I thought that was here. I must have, did I pass it? Yes. Here was the original, but I went one more down so we could also get some slate. So we have people doing that as well. There's a cat roaming around down there as well. But anyway, just trying to get some tasks going. Now, one of the things I looked into, oh, and I'm seeing Nagark's name, by the way, down here in the left. I actually thought he was dead because he was in the corpse room, as I call it. But I guess he was just delivering something, so he was not dead. Fortunately, Nagark is still with us. But I was looking at, I'm going to go ahead and pause this. The description, I think, the comments, and I think it was Tennis who also said that the area should be restricted probably near the shallow areas so the dwarves don't necessarily want to go in there. So I actually looked into this, and I love this. I love the traffic system. Excuse me. Again, always learning new stuff. So if I go into the designate area here, it was designate, right? Yeah. And then O, it says set traffic areas. If I hit O, you'll see I've actually restricted all of the water areas here because I don't need them swimming around in there. And basically that means that they're not going to go in there and potentially be frozen. That was kind of another thing. And in fact, maybe I was reading this on the wiki where they were saying you might restrict water when water is in an area that can get frozen from time to time so they don't get stuck in that. And I said, well, our water freezes. So I went ahead and restricted that. Now the cool thing about that system, the thing that really blew me away, it wasn't the system itself that you could actually restrict areas, but check this out, they actually have these values, so high traffic, normal, low, and restricted. And so this is a cost for pathfinding. So the cool thing is you can actually still allow access, but then increase the cost for the pathfinding such that excuse me, you've got maybe a couple different areas they could go, but you do, if you really want them to use a certain path, you can set it as a high traffic. For example, let's just say a 3-wide path. You could set high traffic down the middle and then set it for normal traffic on the edges, and that would mean that most people are going to want to use the middle lane essentially. But if for some reason that became blocked up, they would still use the outside, but only in the case where they couldn't use the middle. So it's really cool. You can kind of direct traffic in that way. And if you had things moving around, and one of the things I thought was if you use drawbridges as walls. So I thought, you know, what you could do, and I wish I would have thought of this before, is you've got the stairs open here, and it's true that a creature could fly in and get access to everything because they can just come right down the stairs. And what I thought was, what would have been cool, in fact, I'm thinking about this now, I could still do this because I have this level. Huh. So what I could do is I could actually make these stairs come down, and I could do a path right here to new stairs, for example. Let's just imagine that that was a thing, and then you would come down into here. And what I could then do is on this level, instead, you know, where basically they come downstairs, go over, and go stairs down, I could actually have a drawbridge here, if you can imagine this. And so if I were suddenly in danger, the drawbridge could come up blocking this path. And what I could do is I could dig a zigzag-like path around here that eventually just comes right back to the same spot. But I could trap all of this path. I could make pits and cages and traps and stuff. And then if something did come, I flip the drawbridge up, and basically it could reroute this path. So our dwarves wouldn't come down here and try to walk through the path, not that they could get trapped. But it could be that I then have an opening down here or something that's only accessible through this windy path. That was the next thing I missed. So anyway, when I throw the drawbridge up, then all of a sudden the pathfinding says, well, I can go through this path and come up from it this way, which then routes everybody through. And it's kind of a roundabout way. Of course the dwarves are going to choose this one because it's the closest, and the drawbridge would do this anyway. But for example, I could throw the drawbridge up and change the pathfinding, and anyway, you get the idea. I think you get the idea. It's probably a poor example. I hadn't really thought about that too much ahead of time. But you get the idea. You could set paths to varying priorities with that, and then use different things to direct people, or if there was a collapse, or if dwarfs were stuck for some reason, something was stopping people up. Anyway, just a very cool system to kind of direct traffic. I really like it.